Welcome. I'm the Frail Blaze. Our story today. Last week I lost my voice. Something else found it. I grew up in the city, so of course I was eager to see new and interesting places. As soon as I turned 18, I was out the door and traveling across the country. In the end, though, the thing that I wanted most was the peace and quiet that I couldn't find in a city. That's how I ended up working at this small bar in a Montana town at 19 years old. As I said, the town is pretty small, mostly just bars and a few stores. Ever since I moved here last month, I always found the library to be interesting. The old architecture makes the place look surreal, and on top of that, I'm an avid reader. I've actually been meaning to write a book, maybe make some money from it. So last week, I visited the place, hoping for some inspiration, if not at least some reading material. Nobody was inside, which I thought was weird, considering it was located in a pretty busy part of the town. I looked around a bit and I saw a girl around my age in an office chair. She was reading a Stephen King novel. I can't remember which one. "Do you work here?" I asked, tentatively. "Work here? I own the place," she said, jolting upwards. "Oh, wow, but you're only 19, she said. "Yeah, my aunt left it to me. I was the only reader in the family, besides herself, so we were pretty close." She put her hand out. "I'm Kat." "Oh, I'm Leo," I said. "Sorry I didn't see you there sooner. I don't usually see many people in here this time of the week. It's not a town of readers, particularly. The library gets most of its money from people buying and renting DVDs on Friday." Sure enough, there were several stands full of DVDs for the latest and greatest movies. Those weren't why I was here, though. "Say, I've been thinking of writing a novel. I was hoping I could find some inspiration here. A passion for reading? Let alone writing? You must not be from here, are you?" "Well, what is it you're planning on writing, then?" "I suppose I've always been a big horror fan," I replied. "I'd love to write something scary." "A horror fan," she said. "Me too. If you're looking for inspiration..." Yes, there's a section over there that contains all kinds of books about witchcraft, demons, all the real fun stuff. I'm not meant to touch them too often, though. They're really old, but I wouldn't want to touch them anyway." Why not?" I asked, interested in what she had to say. "Well, see, I don't get scared easily. I'm fine with reading scary stories and watching scary movies. It's been that way since I was a little girl. But something about those old books just gives me the heebie-jeebies." That was exactly what I was looking for. I thanked Kat and walked to the section containing the creepy old books. "Be careful with them. As I said, they're really old. If they get damaged, there'll be hell to pay," she shouted across the library. Of course, I chuckled, grabbing one of the books. The cover was a faded red, and the pages were yellowed. It had no title. I began flicking through pages. Eventually I landed on a page with a creepy drawing. A face smiling, but with wide, frightened eyes. As I said, it's really creepy. But I love creepy stuff. So I made the mistake of reading the text, which I will not share with you for soon-to-be obvious reasons. As soon as I was done reading it, I gasped, then had a burning sensation in my throat and jaw as it hung open. I stayed like that for 10 seconds at least before stumbling backwards. My breathing was unsteady, and I stumbled towards the exit. Kat looked up from her book again, then became concerned when she saw me, but I just told her that my inhaler was in the car and that I'd come back tomorrow. My voice came out as a whisper, but it was enough for her to get back to her book. I hurried home, and though my breathing had become relaxed, my voice was completely gone. I tried to talk to myself in the mirror, but nothing came out. The book is meant to be really old. Maybe I had gotten sick by touching it or inhaled some really old dust or something. I made the probably ill-advised decision to sleep it off. My alarm woke me up for work, and I went to the bathroom to brush my teeth, but I found that I couldn't open my mouth at all. Hell, I couldn't even move my tongue. As panic began to settle in, I spoke. I was saying things. It was my voice, but it was not me saying those things. Something was controlling my mouth, forcing it to say. You invited me in. Yesterday evening you read from the book. Be aware I am in control of not just your speech, but your respiration. If you try to communicate about this to anyone, or if you don't do as I desire, I will stop breathing for you. Or perhaps I'll just bite clean through your tongue. I showed up to work on time, thankfully. I must have been a sight, pale as a ghost for sure. But I was still talking as confidently as ever. More confident than normal, even. Whatever was using my voice was remembering the names of every bar-goer and keeping them entertained as the part of me that I could control was serving them drinks. I left, got in my car, and then the voice told me to go to the library. It was Friday, so there were a few people there looking at the DVD shelves, but I walked over to Kat. "Leo, how are you? You looked kind of sick when you left yesterday," she said with concern in her voice. "Oh, I'm better for seeing you. I think there was just some old dust in that book. Got me sick for a day," I responded casually. "Say, mind if I take that book home, have a little look at it? I think it has some great material for a horror novel." I don't know, Leo," she said. "I meant to keep that old thing mostly untouched, and if it's gonna make people all sick for a day, I don't think I should be letting people near it." "Okie dokie," I grinned at her. Then I whispered so that only I myself could hear it. "Go grab some horror DVDs." I obliged, taking 2 in each hand and walking back to Kat. "Say, you're a horror fan, ain't you?" I smiled. "Sure, I don't scare very easily, though," she said. My smile grew wider as I said, "Say, I'll be watching a few of these here horror movies tonight. Want to come over to my place tonight and watch them with me?" She took me up on the offer, and I headed home to get ready. I was beginning to seriously worry. Whatever was controlling my smile and my voice had to have something planned for her, and I doubt it was anything good. Still, I did want to continue breathing. She arrived at 9 p.m., and I went to turn on the movies. The movies I was told to grab were the Evil Dead films. My mouth possessor was not without a sense of humor, it seems. We sat on the couch for 2 hours like that, laughing at the movies and getting increasingly, incredibly drunk. Even while I was afraid to move from the couch, and my voice was sweet-talking her. At around 11 p.m., we were both plastered, though I got the sense that whatever was controlling my voice was focused on something, despite my speech being slurred. It was at this point that she leaned in for a kiss. Whatever the thing was controlling my mouth obliged. As soon as our lips touched, however, I felt the same burning sensation in my throat that I had felt when I read from the red book. And my eyes opened wide. Judging from Kat's eyes, I would guess she was feeling the same feeling in her throat. We both fell backwards, and I heard her breathing become unsteady. My jaw hung open for a while, until I realized that I was in control of my breathing again, and by extension, my speech. Are you all right there, Cat? I slurred out, still very much inebriated. Yeah, just tired. Really, really tired, she responded. Her voice came out as a whisper. She fell asleep on the couch, and I passed out drunk on the floor. When I woke up, I could hear her voice coming from the bathroom. Be aware, I am in control of not just your speech, but your respiration. If you try to communicate about this to anyone, or if you don't do as I desire, I will stop breathing for you, or perhaps I'll bite clean through your tongue. I had transferred it to her. I ran to the bathroom, and I puked in the toilet, partially out of sheer panic, mostly because I was hungover. Thanks, Leo. We should do this again sometime. I looked up to see Kat, grinning, but with fear written all over her eyes. Grab your keys and go home, she said. This time it was to herself. After that, I tried to figure out why I wanted her instead of me. After I sobered up, I realized she owns the library. She has access to those books. Kat is in some very serious danger. And who knows how many more people will be if she's forced to read more of those books by whatever the hell that thing is. Very intriguing story. They say knowledge is power. Books were a source of knowledge for so long. Who knows what power they may possess. But let me know what you thought of this story in the comments below. And I do hope that you'll join me in the future for more Frail Blaze tales.